So good evening, everyone. This is our monthly complimentary event offered by the Institute for Next Level Leadership. My name is Inely Cesna. I'm the founder of the Institute.
And my name is Michael Murphy, and I'm the co-founder, the proud co-founder.
And my beloved husband.
And my beloved wife.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about, are you ready to lead? This is the topic of the conversation today. And we are excited to do this right prior to Thanksgiving, because above all, we want to express our gratitude. Gratitude for those of you who are here today with us. Gratitude for those of you who may be listening to this in another time. Gratitude for those of you who have participated in any of our programs, in any of our events. Gratitude for our friends, for families, even if you have never participated in this. Just gratitude for the influence and the impact that each one of you have brought forward in our lives and assisted us to come to where we are today. So this is a week of celebration of Thanksgiving, and so we're offering this evening in honor of that. Do you want to express your gratitude, Mike?
I think you covered it well. I did want to add something. Mm-hmm. I'm very grateful for the value that everyone who has been with us and all of our friends and everyone that Inely has mentioned, the actual value you've added to our experience. It's so enriching for us to do this and to know that others have interest. Adds value to what it is that we do. And we thank you and we love you for that very much.
Yeah, for many, many years, we used to have those big dinners in our house for Thanksgiving. And then last year with COVID, we couldn't do that. It had to be online. And now it's becoming a new tradition, we do something every month online. And I guess it's part of that same spirit of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, those dinners were fun. We used to call them stray dogs.
Yeah.
If you're a stray dog, come on and have dinner and give thanks for this.
All right, so let's go right into the point. Are you ready to lead? So leadership is an interesting topic because traditionally it has been expressed in so many ways, lead by example, or put your customers first, or put others first, or service, or inspiration. We've dealt with in the corporate world and outside of the corporate world, we've been present in so many leadership programs, and all those ideas, whether it is to lead by example, or to put others first, or to serve, or to inspire and motivate, all of these are very valuable. But that's not next level leadership. The next level leadership that we're talking about here is related specifically to awareness. Awareness. And what is awareness? To a point, we are all aware at some level. We are aware of what's right in front of us. We are aware of our names and our houses and so forth. We are all aware to some level. And in a way, we are all leaders to some level. Because to the extent that we are aware, we are leaders. But the question is, what is the depth of your awareness? What are you aware of? That's where next level leadership becomes very interesting, because we go deeper and deeper into that opportunity of awareness. Now, remember, we do live now in the information age. So awareness and information are tied together. This is the information age, and information becomes a very valuable resource at this point. So when we talk about information and how we deal with information, we touch right into what we do with our awareness and how we deal with that awareness. There's two types of information here that I would like to mention. The information that is out there, all the information that we see out there and the knowledge that it's out there, the news and everything that is happening. That's one part of information. And then there's another kind of information, which is the information, the formation from within. And how aware are we of both the information out there and the information from within? And how well are we managing this information, the outer information and the inner information? How well are we balancing all of that?
Yeah, I like that. And I'd like to add a couple of thoughts with it. There's a huge element of this for me is willingness. Am I willing to literally deal with the information and to process it in a way where some of it is good, it serves me well and is for the highest good. Some of it doesn't. And to separate that out, to know the difference between what's coming from within, what's coming from without, and not succumb to what we used to call in the business world, information overload leads to analysis paralysis. And so you just freeze. And from that point on, not only does leadership stop, but so does growth, so does understanding, and so does the inner work that it takes to really process all this work.
Yes, Mike, what you're saying, it's really important because there's three ways to manage information, whether it's the information that it's out there or whether it's the information that it's coming from within. There's three ways to manage that information. One is to put that energy all out there. So we are focusing on what's happening on the outside, what other people are doing, what did they do, what they didn't do, is this bad or good or right or wrong or beautiful or ugly. We are making interpretations and judgments of all this information that it's out there. And very often we are blaming, we're pointing fingers. This is also focusing on the competition. What is the competition doing out there? And this can lead us, when it's imbalanced, it can lead us to a place of domination and intimidation. And I think many wars have been fought by the imbalance of information towards the outer side that way. So that's one way. The other way to manage the information is taking all of that within, absorbing it all within. So all the information I see out there and all the information I get from within, it becomes all inside of me and it becomes my fault. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? Am I accepted or not? Am I not accepted? How are people receiving me, or how are people not receiving me? And this usually leads to a place of either superiority or inferiority, or both. Sometimes we feel like we're the best, and then we feel like we're the worst. And we go in that pendulum, and it's really a narcissistic way of dealing with the energy, because in the end, it ends up being about me. And it leads to victimization, because I don't know how to manage that energy, and I become a victim of that energy, internalizing it in many ways and thinking it's all my fault, it's all my problem, I have to sort it all out, it's all on me, and things like that. And that energy, when imbalanced, can cause a lot of inner war as well. And it can cause us a great deal of distress and psychosis even. Now, do you have something on that before I go to the third way?
Well, I'll probably come back to it, but that's why when I think about leadership, it's not a job and it's not a title, although most people that we've been exposed to in a role of leadership have a title, and they manage us, and we do what they say, but we don't follow these people. Leadership, when I really think about it, it's a choice. Do I choose to assume leadership, and do I choose, and am I willing to choose into the concept of the next level leadership? And I think that is really something that deserves not just consideration, but the work that follows.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I'm going to go back to the topic of choice. Let me just complete the third way in which we usually deal with information, whether it's information out there or information from within. The third way is when that information is dealt in both directions. The energy is put out into the world, trying to dominate and intimidate and blame and see who did what. And it's also taken within. It's all my fault. It's all my responsibility. How am I going to figure this out? It's going in both directions. And when it goes in both directions, it causes an overwhelm. And that overwhelm, when imbalanced, it's dealt with some level of profound alienation. And even alcohol or drugs or some kind of numbing of ourselves, where we numb part of us in order to deal with that overwhelm. So these three forms of dealing with energy and with the information, the energy we get from information nowadays become very important, because in this information age, one thing we can be certain of: we are all having information overload. This is from the age of 2, when you start holding a cell phone, to no matter how old you are, we are all under information overload. And learning to manage that information, learning to manage the awareness that we gain with that information becomes the next level leadership. And then here comes what you mentioned about choice. I think there's a part of us that thinks, yes, I am making those choices. These choices are up to me. But there is another part of that where it's so difficult to hang on with our choices. I mean, we choose every new year. We choose, I'm going to have a diet, or I'm going to do this, and I have all these many resolutions, and then we don't do those choices. So the interesting part of leadership is to become aware of who is making the choices, really. Who is making the choices inside of me? Which choices am I really making? Who are making these choices? Because my experience has been that if you left it up to my choice, maybe I wouldn't even be doing this right now. You know, I scheduled this a long time ago. I schedule a year ahead. And when the event comes, maybe I don't want to do that event. So is that really my choice? No, because I think there is something else that we all can grow into our awareness of. Something else that it's part of who we are, and it's part of what we do and how we manifest in the world, that it's even stronger than our choice. And when we become in alignment with that, we gain a tremendous enthusiasm and tremendous motivation and a tremendous ability to present ourselves consistently in one path of direction. And that's not to say that path of direction is not going to change. It will change, but it has a whole different quality than some other levels of choice. So to make this short, there is choice and then there's choice. You know, there is that momentaneous choice that it's always changing inside of us. And then there's another level of choice that comes with greater stability. It comes with a greater resilience. And in my experience has been that that's a choice that actually overrides my own little choices. And I don't know if this is making any sense now, but
yeah, it made perfect sense to me. I have a tendency to put things in perspective of leadership, say in a group or a sports team or a business setting or in your job or what have you. Once you choose to play, right, And if in the middle of that process, maybe a meeting, it may be a family discussion, it may be, a business situation, it may be a group discussion. Once you choose and then you don't participate, you're not only cheating a piece of the experience of whatever your wisdom or input is, other people who are involved, and you're devaluing not just your choice, but your fundamental understanding of the contribution that you make. And so it's, and I'll tell you, I've been in situations like that, and I wasn't, when I chose not to say a word, and I didn't realize what the unintended consequences were. But if you're willing to lead, regardless of the situation, and you make that choice, then come to play.
Yes, that's great, Mike, because part of leadership is to know when to speak, when not to speak, when to participate, when not to participate, when to behave and to be present in a certain way, when not to behave and to be present a certain way. And so those discernments of leadership become very subtle. And part of our Leadership Basics program that is going on right now is about managing ourselves in those situations. And I think those here that are part of the Basics Leadership Program is going to make a lot more sense of this in our next session. But what I wanted to call forward here is, and this is something that we can all take home, is the 9 qualities of leadership. 9 qualities of leadership. The 9 qualities of leadership are serenity, humility, authenticity or truthfulness, equanimity, wisdom in the sense of not being over-attached, that we can't see beyond that. So wisdom, courage, sobriety in the sense of clarity, to see clearly, innocence, because innocence allows us to discover the new, to be open to the new, and engagement. Those are the 9 qualities of leadership. Now, I think the trap here for us, and that is that we all go like, oh, now I want to manifest those qualities. I really want to manifest those qualities. And the point is that these qualities, when they're true within us, it's not us who are manifesting them. We can't really, from the perspective of our ego, we can't manifest those qualities. Those qualities are brought upon us, through us, as us, by something far bigger than us. So we are not actually doing or manipulating or making those qualities appear. But what we can do is work with what we have in order to allow space for these qualities to come through. For example, we call this in our programs, we call this our superpowers. So we can work, for example, with order and finding ways of bringing order in our lives. And that order supports serenity to come through us, in us, as a result of that order. We can also create an intention and create ways of being more caring. What do you really care about? What do you really, really, really care about? And then go care about that. Because when we are caring about what we care, we become very humble in it. There's that humility that comes with caring enough. So truthfulness, for authenticity, for example. As we come into authenticity, I can't really manifest authenticity, but I can set up the intention of how can I be more true to myself? What does truth really mean to me? What does it mean to be truthful? And that is a beautiful way, because it leads us right into awareness. awareness and truth and information, is all connected. So as I start seeking awareness, seeking truthfulness, seeking observation, I start becoming that authenticity. That authenticity starts presenting itself through me. Another superpower, for example, is impressionability. And impressionability here means to have an impression, to look at the world from the perspective of what is the meaning of things, what is the significance of things, what is the impression that people and things and situations are bringing forward into my life. And as I question, or as I become curious about those impressions that the universe is bringing forward, there is a level of equanimity that comes upon me, where it's no longer about my preference of this over that. It's like anything, even the things I don't prefer, have significance, have meaning, and are presented to me to imprint myself with an impression that it's relevant for my journey. Another superpower that we can have is knowledge in terms of resourcefulness. How do I use what I have, what's right in front of me, in an applicable way, in a relevant and applicable way? So what can I do with where I am, what I have, and what's right around me in order to promote the greater good for myself and for others? So that becomes a superpower that naturally brings us into wisdom, brings us to non-attachment, because we are just really experimenting with what the universe has positioned right around us. The other one is preparedness, of course. How can I be prepared with what's out there, with what's in here, with the information out in the world, and with the information from within? And in that preparedness, I start developing courage, because I'm facing the world from this place of being prepared and being awake and being aware, and courage starts manifesting through me. The other one is multiplicity. We call multiplicity this ability to be open to opportunities, to be open to ignite what's new, what's coming forward, what the universe is bringing towards us, whether we like or dislike it. And I think the pandemic and COVID has been such a representation of that, because I don't think any of us would have wished a pandemic, any of us would have wished COVID, but it's igniting new possibilities. It's igniting new ways of working together, of being together, of going to school. Is igniting a whole pool of new opportunities. And that's, the beauty of multiplicity. And as we take on these opportunities, we start to create this sobriety in terms of creating clarity as to what of these opportunities are here for me. How can I partake of them? And how can I contribute to them in greater ways and use them for my contribution and the contribution of those around me? Another superpower, of course, is strength. And this can be mental strength, emotional strength, physical strength, spiritual strength, any kind of strength, because that strength is also the strength of holding on to that innocent part of me. The strength of manifesting that innocence as a way of my leadership, because in that innocence, I'm open to learn, I'm open to discover, I'm open to see what I hadn't seen before. And it takes a lot of strength to support that innocence. And also the last of our superpowers, which is indivisibility, we call invisibility or indivisibility, is this opportunity to be whole, to see ourselves as a whole, not only ourselves individually as a whole, but also ourselves in the context of our families, our communities, our country, our world, and eventually the universe. How am I a whole with all the rest of creation? And as I come into that indivisibility, I naturally become engaged. Engagement comes through me because I am one with all there is. And so engagement becomes something that comes through me, in me, as I utilize my superpower of indivisibility or invisibility. So this is just a little something out there. I know this was a lot of information.
Yeah, but something popped into my head.
Yes.
When Inely talked about courage, it has an element to it. It's the courage to hold on to your beliefs, and it's also the courage to let them go if they aren't serving you or not for your highest good or the highest good of all. And both take not just courage, but strength as well. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the process of letting go of some irrational beliefs.
That's wonderful. Believe me, we all are in that process all the time. And it's a wonderful process to be in, especially when we are aware.
Yeah.
Especially when we are aware.
Yeah.
So this is a beautiful, this is what we have for you today. In addition to this, we just want to put out there that we are enrolling for our next programs that are coming up in January. We have the Next Level Leadership Program coming up, 26 sessions, once a week of 2 hours. And we're going to deep dive into styles of leadership where we start working with these superpowers, in our everyday life, and allowing more of these qualities to come present through us. And we also have our next Enneagram Riddles program coming up in January. So just wanted to put that out there.
Duration and days?
Yeah, the information is in the website, although the dates in the website are not correct yet. We are finalizing dates. But the Next Level Leadership Program is starting early January 6th to July 1st, once a week for 2 hours. And the Enneagram Riddles is starting in the second part of January, and it goes for 10 weeks, once a week for 3 hours. So what we have now for the next half an hour is an opportunity to do a group sharing.